My topic is broken by my addiction and healed by God. As I stand here alive in your presence, it is not by chance, good luck, or anything I have done or have not done on my own strength. I was broken by my addiction to crack cocaine until a good Samaritan stopped to see about me. This earthly angel action was powered by the true and living God dwelling within her. I'm speaking about my pastor and bishop, Isabel Grant. Jesus Christ, the Son of God, the one who suffered and died on the cross, then rose up on the third day. It was by faith in this God I launched out, claiming my healing. For it is written, by his stripes I am healed. The chains and shackles that held me securely bound to crack cocaine has been broken. God healed my brokenness. God transformed me from a crackhead to a Christian. Continuously for 12 years, I chased after my own death. Day after day, I stood eagerly waiting to embrace it. An hour passed, and another hour came and passed, and all I did and planned were ways and means to get my next hit. I actually smoked crack to live, and I live to smoke crack. For all the pains I have felt as an addict, for all the times I have knelt in prayer for strength to pull through and finding freedom from this thing is countless. I became blinded to me, knowing all along that there was greatness lying in me. And yet still, I pursued an evilness I could not see. An evilness that left evidence of an uncontrollable, unmanageable life, leading to my certain death. At the very moment as I stood between the entrance of death's door, I received a package from God. It was a gift of a second chance. Also in this same package, there was the Trinity New Birth International Christian Ministries of Baltimore, Maryland, where the pastor is Bishop Isabel Grant. Because of divine intervention, my impossibilities became God's possibilities. I give honor to my grandmother, who is now present with the Lord. She was the one who trained me in the way I should go. She taught me from an early age the things God required of me. Every moment spent with her was an opportunity she gladly took to teach me how to live holy. When I was young, I did not fully understand the why and the why not. As I grew older, all the whys and the why not were answered. Don't do that, don't go there, take that outfit off, you can't watch that TV show, and of course, attending church all the time. Now that I am an adult, I realize all the don't do and the do that were all a part of God's plan in molding me. I am who I am today because my grandmother obeyed this scripture verse. Proverbs 22:6. Train a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he shall not turn from it. From an early age, Satan began to attack me. These weapons Satan formed against me were not really targeted at my physical being. These weapons were aimed at destroying my purpose before I could come into my gifting, therefore disabling me in fulfilling my destiny in Jesus Christ. Satan did not wait till I was full grown to begin his attack over where I was going. He did not wait for me to gain knowledge of my purpose. He refused to wait till I came into my gifting, and for this reason, he began his attack over my destiny as a child. Some of my childhood memories are filled with silent cries of the night and indescribable pains. At the age of 7, 8, and 9, I was sexually assaulted by many. It was the beginning of my deep hatred towards all men. Looking back at all the times I struggled for my freedom from being pinned down still makes me angry. My struggles were all in vain. A waste of me trying to stop something I had no control over. There were many times in my adult life I would purposely aim on becoming drunk in hopes of deleting those memories. But instead, I would end up screaming to the invisible men that had brought to my body such pain. At the age of 15, I was raped by an uncle the last day of school, and I became pregnant. In spite of family pressure to have an abortion, I decided for myself that I was going to do the right thing. And I did. At the age of 16, I gave birth to my daughter, who is now 20 years old. 4 months after giving birth to my daughter, at the age of 16, I married a 30-year-old man who I only knew for 2 months. One of the reasons why I got married was to get away from folks who were always trying to control me. By getting married, my life had totally changed. 4 months into my marriage is when that change really hit me. That is when my husband did too. I then became a victim of domestic violence. I remember him pointing a rifle to the temple of my head in the midst of others, being dragged from one end of an alley to the other end of it, screaming in the hallway of my apartment building for someone to help me. I remember him pushing me out of the house naked in the snow. I remember having carpet burns from being dragged from one room to the other while my children watched and screamed. I was young and did not know as much as I thought I knew. For one thing, I did not have the know-how nor the skills to live my life without a man. The need and the importance of education were made clearly to me at that point in my life. I realized that education is knowledge that puts my potential to maximum use. My name is Marissa Green, and once upon a time, I actually lived to smoke crack and smoke crack to live. I was not always a crack addict or crackhead as most people call it. My addiction was born due to a process. First, the thought came. Second, the temptation came. And third was the action. After 9 years, when my abusive marriage was over, I began dating a guy who I later learned was a drug dealer. As time went on, I began to get bored. So I began to think about anything I can do that I can occupy myself with that was exciting. Number one, the thought came. My mind began to focus on the drugs that my boyfriend was selling, and I began to wonder what it was about this drug that people were so crazy about. Then I acted on the thought. After all my wondering, I decided to drive to the library to research crack cocaine. Number 2, the temptation came. After my research, I was tempted to use crack. So I left the library with the intention I was going to try this drug they call crack. Number 3, I acted on the temptation. So here comes my action. There I was trying to get high from crack. I sniffed it, I ate it, and then I stirred it in coffee and drank it. Nothing happened. Using a large amount, I tried again. I sniffed it, I ate it, and then I stirred it in coffee and drank it. The power of the spirit of drugs is amazing to me. The power of the spirit of crack cocaine effectively showed me its power by holding me in its captivity way before I became aware of the feeling of its high. For about 5 weeks, I continued with my routine, pursuing to get high by sniffing crack, eating it, or stirring it in coffee, not knowing I was supposed to smoke it. Trying to get high the right way consumed my mind with every passing moment. The pursuit and use of a mind-altering chemical causes one future to be held hostage. How do I know? I have been there for sure, and my future was captured. At the very moment my desire to get high was birthed, was the very moment my future was captured. My pursuit to successfully get high the right way had become my addiction, even before I actually got the feeling of its high. I continued with my routine of using crack in different ways with the hope of experiencing some type of a high. I sniffed it, I ate it, and I stirred it in coffee and gobbled it down. Still, I felt no different. But with one telephone call, I learned the right way to get high from crack cocaine. When I smoked crack, it was as in the story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, when God had instructed them not to eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. I am talking about the eating of the forbidden fruit, doing the very thing I knew I should not do. Adam and Eve ate the forbidden fruit, and their eyes were open, and they became aware that they were naked and they were ashamed. Smoking crack was my forbidden fruit. It had become my one and only object of my desire. Its appeal was a direct result of my knowledge that it was the something I should refrain from. When I took my first hit of crack, the eyes I knew not I had became open. And from that moment on, everything changed, and at the same time, everything remained the same. In the beginning, it seemed like a fun thing to do. But after just a couple of days, what seemed like fun turned into a tornado in my life, twisting and turning while altering and destroying everything in it and in its path. It was a start of my new beginning,